Good afternoon. Today is the 21st of September 2023, and this is a follow-up video on the first video I had made on startups being provided incentives by the government of their jurisdiction. So the previous video was on Kenya, and I had promised to do a follow-up on at least three in a day. But I have realized that this being a channel where I want people to understand the law and understand it to the best of their abilities, for people who do not have any history in doing law, or yeah. So today we'll be starting on Egypt. I had promised to do three, but I'll be doing one at a go. So today we'll be dealing with Egypt. So for Egypt is becoming a hub for startup innovation and entrepreneurship in the Middle East and North Africa. These are referred to as the MENA region, with a growing number of initiatives aimed at supporting startups combined with a highly educated and tech-savvy workforce. Egypt is poised for significant growth in the startup sector. So one of the most promising sectors where startups are coming up in Egypt include fintech. This is financial technology, where people are moving away from the mainstream financial systems such as banks and engaging in avenues such as mobile money and mobile wallets. Another sector that startups are coming up in Egypt is the e-commerce and logistics. So I'll be discussing some of the opportunities that the government of Egypt has seen and some of the challenges they are facing. So for opportunities, the government has launched several initiatives and programs aimed at supporting startups, including the Start Egypt program, which provides mentorship, training, and funding to early stage startups, and Egypt Innovate Initiative, which aims to create a supportive environment for entrepreneurs and innovators, as well as a range of funding and investment programs such as the Egypt Ventures Fund. Additionally, the Egyptian government, through its Ministry of Communications and Information Technology, has launched the Technology Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center, TIEC, which, similarly as the other government programs, is offering training, mentorship, and incubation services to startups. So, in addition, there are a number of startup accelerators and incubators in Egypt, which include Flat Six Labs, InnoVentures, and Falak Startups, which similarly provide mentorship, funding, and support to early stage startups. So in every opportunity there lies a challenge. So the challenge facing the Egyptian government is lack of funding and investment in the ecosystem. However, there are some notable investors in the Egyptian startup ecosystem, and they include Sawari Ventures, Algebra Ventures, and 500 Startups. Another challenge is the regulatory environment, which can be complex and cumbersome for startups. So, from a regulatory perspective, the Egyptian government has launched several initiatives to support startups, including the establishment of the National Investment Bank and the Egyptian Entrepreneurship Initiative. So, the government has also introduced several tax incentives and other measures to support entrepreneurship and innovation. In conclusion, according to a report by Magnet, which is MAGNITT, a leading startup data platform in the MENA region, Egypt's startup ecosystem is expected to grow by over 100% in the next 5 years, driven by increased government support and the growth of the middle class and the availability of investment capital. The startup environment is going to see a significant boom. So the comparison between what the Egyptian government is offering and the Kenyan government include the establishment of this National Investment Bank in Egypt. This is similar to our Kenyan credit guarantee scheme, which is seeking to provide funding for the startups. In Kenya, the scheme is also guaranteeing investors. By guaranteeing investors, this is by safeguarding their interest, meaning that the Kenyan government is providing a platform to attract investors into the country. This will ensure that more startups are set up and they are set up for success, not just start and die. So through the government guaranteeing investors who are a major part of startups, this will ensure that there is a growth in employment opportunities. One for the founder who has already created an avenue for employment, and even for the people who will be working in these startups. There is going to be several people, including the CFO, the COO, the head of CTO, yeah, and several other people, the HR department, the finance department, and several other avenues. This will be ensuring that there is creation of employment. So that is a similarity. Another one is the a minute. Another one is the subsidizing the formalization of startups. This entails the regulatory environment. Both countries are facing a challenge when it comes to the regulatory environment. This is where the process of setting up a startup is so cumbersome that many people shy away from even trying to begin or think of starting a startup. So the government is reducing the number of requirements that are required for one to set up a startup. By so doing, it will create an easier way for founders to incorporate these companies and to even set them up for success. Another thing is both countries are providing support in the form of research and development activities. This will enable the development and growth of these startups. So, in conclusion, I'd like to speak on Kenya. Under Kenya, we really encourage registration of intellectual property. And as we know it, most startups are coming up in the fintech sector, the technology and innovation and e-commerce sectors where IP is really needed. So we need to safeguard intellectual property that these companies are establishing or creating. So under Kenyan laws, there is the intellectual property laws, and there is the